Lord, thank you for the opportunity to get together and conduct city business. Lord, we thank you for the rain. We thank you for the opportunity to involve with visitors here tonight. Lord, we just ask you, Mayor and Council, conduct the service as you see fit for the benefit of the city of Jasper. Amen.
Jim, leads the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council has a copy of the agenda, and I've got, it might not have been on their agenda, which is in yellow. Cove Road annexation update, item C under old business. You may have received one. Minutes of the May 1st, 2017 regular meeting report.
Regular council meeting Monday, May 1st, 2017. Mayor Weaver called the meeting to order promptly at 6 p.m. He requested Lonnie Waters to the invocation. Councilmember Jim Lane led in the recital of the Pledge of Allegiance. Mayor Weaver asked that the agenda be reviewed and approved by council. Councilmember Ann Snavy made a motion to approve the agenda. Councilmember Jim Lane seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. It is noted that Tony Fountain is absent from this meeting. City Clerk Lisa Boyle read the minutes of the April 3rd, 2017 regular meeting. Councilmember Jim Laney made a motion to adopt the minutes as read. Councilmember Ann Snavy seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. There is no old business to discuss. Item A, under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Walt Cagle and John Hyatt of the Higgins County Sportsman's Club to present to council the dates of the kids fishing rodeo at Cove Creek. Mr. Cagle stated that the dates of the rodeo would be May 17th through the 20th, 2017. And requested permission from council to use the Cove property exclusive for the event on those dates. Councilmember Jim Laney made a motion that the Higgins County Sportsman's Club have use of the Cove Creek property for the fishing event, May 17th to 20th. And Councilmember Ann Snavy seconded the motion. Motion passed a unanimous vote. Item B under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Lonnie Waters to present to council the results of the April 18, 2017 business paving project number 2017-001. Mr. Waters stated that the bid tabulation is as follows. Bartow Paving Company, $497,655.60. Blunt Construction Company, $493,416.26. Caldwell Construction Incorporated, $693,500. C.W. Matthews Construction Company, $569,988.55. Johnson Paving, $471,580. Northwest Georgia Paving, $505,977.60. Mr. Waters stated that the low bid was $471,580 from Johnson Paving. Mayor Weaver stated that the city has used Johnson Paving on previous paving projects from the contractor and that the contractor was satisfactory. Councilmember Jim Laney made a motion to approve the low bidder, Johnson Paving, for the paving project. Councilmember John Fowle seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Item C under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Lonnie Waters to present to council a proposal from Tri-State Consulting Services for a GPS mapping program. Mr. Waters stated that this system could convert the city's existing water and sewer maps to a standardized GIS database, which would be more accurate than the existing mapping system. He stated that this system would also be useful in the building department as it would map city boundaries and zoning. He stated that the total cost, which would be billed in phases, would amount to $22,775. Councilmember John Fowle made a motion to purchase the GPS system and software at $22,775. Councilmember Jim Laney seconded the motion. Motion carried by unanimous vote. Item D under new business, Mr. Waters presented a proposed annexation of a portion of Cove Road into the city. He stated that the city owns both sides of the road and some areas from the bridge to the top of the mountain. Mayor Weaver stated that this annexation would have to go before the Planning Commission for recommendation, then to council for approval. He stated that he is asking council approval to move forward with the annexation. Councilmember Jim Laney made a motion to move forward with the potential annexation of Cove Road as presented and as according to the map provided. Councilmember Ann Snavy, seconded the motion. Motion carried by unanimous vote. Items E and F under new business, the mayor recognizes Chief Steve Roper to present to council proposed repairs to the Burton Street barn and also the need for a new roof on the city's fire station. Mayor Weaver entertained a motion to move forward with obtaining bids for the two items that were budgeted for 2017. Councilmember John Faust made such motion. Councilmember Jim Looney seconded the motion. Motion carried by unanimous vote. Item G under new business, Mayor Weaver stated that the city park was closed as of April 28th for necessary repairs. He stated that he would like council to approve $15,000 to make repairs and replace playground equipment. Councilmember John Faust made a motion to approve the city spend up to $15,000 on the city park. Councilmember Sonny Proctor seconded the motion. Motion carries unanimously. Item F under new business, Mayor Weaver recognized Finance Director Lisa Wilson to present the 2016 budget amendment to council for approval. Councilmember Jim Looney made a motion to approve the amendment. Councilmember Ann Snavy seconded the motion. Motion carried unanimously. Economic Developer Jerry DePaul was not available to give a report. Finance Director Lisa Boyle gave the financial report for the month of April 2017. Lonnie Waters gave the animal control report for the month of April 2017. Chief Greg Lovell gave a report of police activities for the month of April 2017. Chief Steve Roper gave a report of fire activities for the month of April 2017. Councilmember John Faust gave an update on JYSA activities. Being no other business to come before council, Councilmember Jim Looney made a motion to adjourn the meeting. Council is scheduled to convene next at the regular council meeting to be held June 5th, 2017.
Entertain a motion.
Motion to accept the minutes as read.
Motion to approve the minutes as read.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, Councilman. Under old business, first item, Mr. Hinton, Assistant Chief, Burton Street barn repairs and fire department. And I'll call you Vaughn for the record.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Chief Roper came to you guys last month and discussed and we actually did put out the bid, the roof of the Burton Street barn. And however, there was no bids turned in for that project. So we've gone back to the quotes that we had prior to the bid process. We had two quotes turned in, one by Fountain Roofing and one by Allen Wynn Construction. The Fountain Roofing's bid on the barn was $10,200. And for the fire station, it was $15,930. Again, that was Fountain Roofing. Allen Wynn's price for the barn was $12,319. And for the barn, it was $12,250. Both of these quotes doesn't cover any repair to either structural integrity of either building. It's just simply to replace the metal on both buildings. Anything that's found rotten underneath or any damage to any of that wood will be incurred later, pricing, as they find it. I don't believe we're going to have many issues, if any, with the fire station. As far as the barn, I can't speak for that because there is some damage with it, but don't know what, to what extent. So I guess what we're looking for tonight is for the council to approve us to go ahead with this project.
Let me clarify, if I may.
Okay.
The Mr. Fountain was the low bidder on the barn.
He's low bid on the barn, and Allen Wynn is low bid on the fire station.
And these are individuals, so we can actually award separately.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they were priced separately, so we could award one to the for the barn and one for the fire station.
Would entertain a motion, council.
Make a motion, we accept the low bids for barn and fire station roof repair.
Okay. So that would be Fountain with the barn and Wynn with the fire station.
Yes, sir.
Get a second. Motion is second. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council.
Lisa, do you put those bids in the minutes, in the package?
I put bids in the minutes. I usually don't put quotes in the minutes, but I can.
Either way, that's right, you, like this last time, you had them stated in your, that's fine.
In fact, if these quotes are now the official price, if they accept this one, I call them, okay. Thank you. Item B, generator, emergency generator, police department.
Emergency generator for the police department. We applied for this back when we applied for the generators for the water treatment and wastewater treatment facilities in the wells. At that time, the generator did not meet the requirements for the grant. But as of last year in, it was October of 2017, we were awarded when we went back and asked for the additional money for the grants for the generators that we had. Because of the price increase over the 2 years we've been working on the grants, there was those increases. We went back, asked for those. At that time, they did approve the police department's generator, but it was not in the bid process. So what we have is I had Caldwell give us a price, the company that has did all the work for the generators that we have now. I simply went back to them because of the quality of work that they've done, the time and manner that they've done that work, as well as so we will have one contact for all the generators inside the city. So we went back to Caldwell and got them to bid that. And they came back to us with a price of $45,000. The original price that we had put, when we put in for this grant originally in 2014, that original price for that generator was, let me find my notes here, $42,181.50. The price today is $45,000. However, when we went back and asked for that additional funding, we were awarded $49,082. So with the cost of the generator being $45,000, this, when the grant money being $49,000, that would allow us to put the gas meter and stuff for this generator in as well under that grant. And of that $49,082, the city's share of that will be $7,362.30. $7,362.30 will be the city's cost.
So the additional funding was, did or did not include this additional generator?
It did. The additional funding did include it.
Where did we have that budgeted? Our match.
It was budgeted for 17 because I didn't know they were not going to bid on the police, but I budgeted for it.
Okay.
The match.
And that was my question.
The match and GMOV portion.
Yes, so the city's part was actually put in the bid for the police department too.
Okay. That was my question. I just wanted to make sure where we had it.
And the budget's higher than the amount, correct?
Yes.
Any other questions? We'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we accept the bid for the generator for the police department.
Motion to approve the bid.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. Unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn.
Has that ever happened before?
Yeah,
Occasionally?
occasionally, not often enough.
Under new business, item A, annual audit presentation for 2016. Pardon? Oh, goodness, I marked that. I didn't. You guys sit real still. I got one more item C. Cove Road, I think I just want to skip this one intentionally. Lonnie, would you come up? Cove Road annexation update. We got a little better news than just an update, council. Lonnie, would you?
Mayor and council, I brought to you last month about the Cove Road being, the county was wanting us to annex it in to the top of the S-curves. The city actually owns most of the property on both sides of the road. The state says that you own both sides, the street is in the city anyway. So the county, we told them that we were bringing it to your attention. The county went ahead, I just found out this afternoon, they had the road surveyed by James Bowman. I got a drawing here with his certification on it. And Landrum has already filed a quitclaim deed for that section of road. And I'm here to ask for you to vote to annex by intergovernmental agreement. It don't have to go before the planning commission like we first thought, since the attorneys in the county has already done this. And so we're asking you to approve this, and then the city limits will start immediately at the top, once we notify everybody, the 911 and everybody.
Mr. Pickett? Yeah. You want to overrule attorney,
No, we talked about it.
okay, good. Didn't want to supersede our attorneys. Did you have a chance to talk to them, Mr. Pickett?
No, I have not.
I told you that.
Landrum? Okay, so you good with this, and this is going to supersede any formal annexation? We just own the road, and we own, the city actually owns property on both sides. We move the sign, therefore it's in the city. It'll be patrolled by the city and be recognized as city property. Okay, with that, I believe all we would need would be for both from council to accept the gift from the county.
Accept conveyance, and then do we still need a motion on zoning?
No, I think we'll be just taking the property as a gift in a governmental agreement. Mr. Pickett?
Let's call it conveyance. It's a conveyance, isn't it?
So we had other property owners along that stretch, or are we just annexing the portion that,
Just the road.
just the road?
And with the city, with the Griffith family owns a portion.
There is, right at the top of the guardrail on the right-hand side, there's probably, I don't know, 50 feet that belongs to Mr. Babcock, Mr. Griffith. And then on up, right at the top of the S-curve, there is a small tract of land beyond the top of the S-curves that belongs to some people in Holly Springs. I have physically went to their house. I've not been able to make contact with them. But the street itself, on both sides of the road, is owned by the city of Jasper.
And the property that is not the city's is not being annexed.
Right.
It's
There's
just the
Georgia
road.
marble land there too, right? I believe there's a little slip. There was on the, I'm just, on the right-hand side going up the hill.
I think that's owned by the Griffins. They probably have mineral rights.
Right.
Gotcha.
So it's going to stop just short of Ken Gary Reese's place.
Just a little short.
Just before you get to Gary Reese's driveway on the left.
So can you clarify, if we own property, we don't necessarily have, if we own the property, we don't necessarily annex it, is that correct?
Well, we have annexed the Cove Road from the original city limits line to the bridge. And after we did that, the city purchased property on both sides of the road, including the mines all the way to the top of the hill, except the small properties that are contiguous with the road, except for the cities. And so when the county gift, or what conveys the property to the city, it'll become city-owned, and we can go through legal annexation or accept the gift from the county, because then we move the sign, and then we can check to make sure we are legal without having to advertise and do all the things we normally do. But we have annexed a lot of property by continuation and through legislation.
You're authorized to accept that as a gift, and that's all it is.
Okay.
And it's immediately in it by default? It's
By the recording of the deed.
Okay.
It's just the road.
It's
Yeah,
just the road.
it's not property off the
Not
side.
that touch anybody.
But the property that we own on either side, is that in the city?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
But it slides off at the tip of the bridge to our property. We're kind of like a Y there. Now this will just, it'll fill in the map.
Can we own property contiguous with the city and it not be part of the city? Is that a silly question?
Yeah, well,
It's certainly born out of.
we want it to be in the city as soon as it becomes ownership. It always has. We
All right.
annexed it in the past through various means. But if the county made a request of us to annex the property, we would be going through the process of advertising, etc. But since we're not actually advertising any private sector property, we'll feel no need. But we could make a phone call tomorrow to back up our legal opinions with GMA and maybe even Department of Community Affairs.
Well, I'm trying to get through that book, but it's 130 pages, something like that.
Did I get a motion yet to accept
Do we want to call it conveyance, or do
Is
you have to
accept the proposed gift to the city.
make a motion, we accept, the city accept the proposed gift, road on Cove Road from county,
As surveyed by J.C. Bowling.
as surveyed by,
And a quick claim by Landon.
Need a second?
Second.
Motion is second. I think I heard Ann first. She's close to the left side. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote with show of hand. Thank you, council. Now, under new business, item A, annual audit presentation 2016. Sam Lattimore, Washington Company.
Thank you for having me, Mayor and Council. Here to report your December 31st annual audit. Right there in front of you, you've got the report, and we've also got the presentation here. I'm going to go through the presentation, you're going to follow along within the financial, but most of the, I'm going to hit the highlights. I just want to say thank you for retaining us. You have a very good staff, and anytime we ever needed anything, they were available, and that always makes things go smoothly. It was a good year. So I'm going to start with saying thank you, Lisa, Lindsay, and Stella. They did a very good job. On page 2 of the presentation, you have
Just for the record, Rachel's probably going to want to, you need to thank her and Ashley as well.
of course. Thank both of them as well.
will it come back next year?
That's right, I do. This is the audit opinion page, and that's the letter that comes with the audit. And I'm just going to go through the gist of what it says. Basically, the financial statements are your responsibility. The auditor is responsible for issuing the letter saying that it's fairly stated or not. That doesn't mean there may not be little differences or anything like that, but on this letter, you got an unmodified opinion. That's the best you can get. That means we didn't have to change the letter, so that's very good. So our job was to audit under generally accepted government auditing standards. That's what we did. Came up here for 3 or 4 days and dug through financial transactions. And at the end of that, we came up with an unmodified opinion at December 31st. And you're welcome to stop and ask me a question if anything comes up. Right behind the letter is the government-wide financial statements. These are a full accrual statements. It's exactly what you would have in an enterprise, and that's on page 14. And 15, which is the statement of net position, that's in government, that's what we call a balance sheet. And then the statement of activities, that's your income statement. And that's on page 16. It presents the results of the operations of the city. Moving to page 4, I'm going to highlight your net position and change in net position. If you look all the way to the right, revenues over expenses, that's your net income. So you see in 14, you guys made $871,000. And then 15, it went up quite a bit, and that was due to a contribution and a grant. If you guys remember, I think there was some land that was purchased as well, and some of that stuff. But this year, it just went down just a little bit. If you took that out, it would go down just a little bit. $692,000 is what you made as a government, which is positive. Page 5, the general fund. I'm just going to highlight a couple items here. Total revenue decreased about $58,000. Your motor vehicle taxes decreased about $54,000. Franchise taxes decreased about $37,000. Occupational tax decreased $27,000. And then your fines and forfeitures went up about $58,000. That's the healthy side. Your expenditures increased because in 2 areas. The park administration expenses are capital outlay. That's about $170,000 increase. Your street expenditures decreased about $63,000, and that's due to less salaries, which we call personal services. If you take a look right under that, your unassigned fund balance, and I've got a chart on the next page, but What we like to do is we take your monthly expenses in the general fund and we'll divide your unassigned fund balance by that. And you've got about 39 months worth of expenditures sitting in your unassigned fund balance. So that's very healthy. I'm sorry, 39.7%, we have about 4.7 months. I apologize.
It's still very healthy.
Yes.
That's what I'm
They, we sort of set a target years ago for 12 months. We're getting there.
Mhm. So you've been up almost a full month compared to last year. There's a graph on page 6, and that's your general fund revenues and expenditures. You can see the blue line is your income, and then the green line is your expenditures. Those have a gap between them. That's very good. So that's something to be proud of. You're making money.
I thought, can't we call it retained revenue? We don't want to get any tax breaks, we need that cash.
That's right.
Got business here, we need
Moving to page 7, just like I was talking about your fund balance, as you can see, your unassigned and your total fund balance, you can see there's a trend there. It's gone up over the last 3 years. So that's again another healthy sign there. Your water and sewage fund, revenues increased about $28,000. Your water sales increased about 37. Sewage sales are about 19,000 increase. Your leachate dump fees increased 163,000. That's a 30% increase, so that's very good. Your miscellaneous operating revenues decreased last year. If you remember, there was a settlement of some debt, and we had to recognize that in income when you forgive debt. So that's why that's down this year. Your operating expenses increased about $224,000. Wastewater treatment expenses increased about $100,000. Water treatment plant expenses decreased about $62,000, and your water distribution expenses increased about $183,000. Any questions on that? If you take a look at the next page, there's a graph there, and you can see that you're consistently, your operating revenues are above your operating expenses, which is very good. You see your net operating this year was $420,000. We do issue a report on internal control and compliance and other matters. Every now and then, being an auditor, we got to find something wrong. We did have one comment, and your municipal court it was out of the 26 receipts that we traced, there were 11 that were late, and by late, I mean over 7 days. Do we want to respond to that?
And the deposits didn't get to the bank. It was over 7 days, and our police chief,
Chief Lovell, would you come up and remedy our
we
negatives?
corrected that.
We give you our response, what we've done already.
We gotta find out what he drives when we're.
I'm in trouble
What we did, the police explained their response, 7 days, several of them, they wouldn't deposit. The young lady in charge of that takes it in. What she would do is she would, there's sometimes we get a lot of money in paying fines and fine traffic, and then sometimes there's nothing. Well, she would lock it up and not send it in. And what we've done is corrected measures of that. We gave her a written counseling notice and basically recommended we place the personnel file, also verbally warn on timeless deposit funds for police court receivables. As the mayor's request, there will be one made daily. If there's no money, we're going to send one over anyway. They'll quote a form that said no funds received. This form will be created and fill out, sent over to the financial department. So that's what we've done to bring that situation.
So,
Thank you, sir.
all right, thanks, Chief.
All right.
2003 month.
That was the wrong guy, wasn't it? Like I said, that's a significant deficiency. It's not a material weakness, so it's not the worst you can have, but it sounds like you guys responded very appropriately. There's some things that I have to say, and that is required communication. A lot of times we do this through a letter, But since I'm here today, I'm just gonna go ahead and read off the points. That way we go ahead and do it now. We won't have to write it. But to plan and perform the audit to obtain reasonable rather than absolute assurance that the financial statements are free of material misstatements. That's my responsibility as the auditor. We examine it on a test basis. And we assess whether you're following GAAP, government auditing standards, or excuse me, government accounting standards. And you are. We believe we accomplished these objectives. The accounting policies are a note to the financials. If you're having trouble sleeping, that's a great way to get a little tired. There were no new GASB statements to adopt. There are a couple accounting estimates in your financial statements, and one of those is your depreciation, and the others are the allowance for doubtful accounts on your property tax and utility bill receipts. So we thought they were appropriate. If we had any uncorrected audit adjustments, we would have those approved by management. And then, well, we don't have any because we recorded everything. I'm happy to report there were no disagreements with management. There were no difficulties when we were trying to perform our audit procedures. I have received representation from you through a letter, and we are not aware of any consultants, management is with other accountants or auditing matters. And that is everything else.
Questions, council?
My contact information is on the last slide. If anything comes up, you're more than happy to call or email me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Lisa, would you like to address the council at some stage?
Actually, y'all we can get this approved tonight. It's due before the end of the month, the 30th.
That's right.
It's going to on the 30th. And we'll go ahead and let them file it with the state audit,
Be on
Department
file.
of Audits.
Community affairs.
That's right.
With that, would entertain a motion to approve the presentation and accept this audit report?
So moved.
Got a motion? Second. Motion is second. Discussion? Being none, all in favor, with your hands. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you for having me.
It's always great to meet June the 30th.
Right.
It's always nice to get it done early. Isn't it?
Lisa, thank you and all the girls. Y'all did a great job.
You have one.
Yeah, thank all of them, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Item B, Council Piedmont Hospital has pulled back their request, so they will not be here this evening. I did not have an opportunity to speak with anyone, so I'll give you an update when I find out what they're planning.
Mr. Mayor, if you wanted
Yes.
to. As you probably could tell on the presentation, this was kind of it was a provisional plan, and I think the time frame that the helicopter, the fact that they'd already went ahead and ordered the trailer before all the groundwork was done, they, and Piedmont requested they have representation here tonight as well. They decided to, I guess, land that trailer right where the old one is, and so we'll have to work on this in the future if they decide to move forward, so I appreciate it.
Thanks. Thank you, sir. Item D, Fire Department camera, Assistant Chief Hedrick. Mr. Roper's breaking you in tonight.
He just gets to sit right there.
Doing that there, switching wrong with them.
We got a quote on another thermal imaging camera to replace one of the old that we have that's no longer in service. This item is in the budget. We had $8,000 budgeted for this item this year. The camera, and you missed it the other night, we brought one in for a demo at the work session. That camera price is $7,395. That camera allows us to see through smoke It allows us to see heat, fire, and it takes us from going to the old days of searching a house where it would take 30 minutes, 20, 30 minutes to search a house with 2 people, where we can literally search that entire house in 5 minutes now. So that time frame is you know, it's a miracle that we can do it that quick. Not only that, but we can use it. We have children lost at night, adults lost at night. I shared a story with them from about 8 years ago where we used it on Cove Road for a car accident where a person was ejected. Nobody knew there was anybody else in the car. The driver was adamant someone was with them. We took that camera, the old camera that we're replacing, scanned the kudzu pile, and found the guy rolled up in kudzu about 50 yards from the car. Had we not had that, we might not have found that individual. So what we're doing is asking to replace that camera. That camera was bought, I think, in 1998. The old camera was.
Is it still functional?
No, sir. It is not functional at all. And being that it is so old, that technology is so outdated, no one will even work on it. With this new camera, there's also a driveway detection device that goes into the fire truck, that wires into the parking brake. So for some reason on the scene, this camera being expensive as it is, if it's not back in its cradle and you push the parking brake off, it sends an audible alarm to tell you that your camera is not in the truck. That way it don't get left on the scene. So we're asking tonight for the approval to purchase this camera.
Does that price include the docking station?
That price does include a docking station, the lanyard, the camera, truck charger, and extra battery.
And is that covered under our budget?
Yes, we had $8,000 in the budget for this item.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the thermal image camera, 73.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Being all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. Okay. Item E, Kubota skid steer, Mr. David McKinnon. Council, this is a continuation of a lot of equipment that we've been purchasing, and they will give you an update on the end of our lease and how we are where we are today.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. We had a cat skid steer that we had leased. The lease was up as of today. We took this Caterpillar skid steer back, returned it today, and we've been working on getting quotes from different vendors for Kubotas. We did our research that we did, and with having people close to us to work on it in Pickens and in Blue Ridge, that it would be more feasible for us to go with a Kubota instead of a Caterpillar. So,
And being that Caterpillar was in Calhoun, and David and I took it over today, it took us 2.5, 3 hours before we stopped and had lunch. But if we'd taken it back to either Mason tractor or Nelson tractor, we're talking just a few minutes up and down the road. And Kubota, we went and tried it out. Tell a little bit about what we found when we...
it seems it's very user-friendly. It's this particular one, we're going with an enclosed cab. It's heated and air-conditioned cab. The one we're wanting has a demolition door on the front of it, so when we're bush hogging, that if any brush or debris gets thrown back in your face, it won't shatter the glass and hurt you. But it's a really good equipment. It's very powerful.
So let's talk about price and how it will be different with purchasing versus leasing.
All right. The price that we got, the low quote that we got on this piece of equipment was $58,000. Lisa had budgeted for the balloon note some money, and I think we're going to.
I had budgeted for us to purchase this cab. The balloon came due this year, and I had budgeted approximately $25,000 to go ahead and buy the piece of equipment. Had that been with the payments we'd already made plus the balloon, our cash out would have been $31,000 approximately. If we do what they're wanting to do, turn it in and purchase the Kubota, and this is a purchase, I'm going to finance it through the GMA, the big loan that we're setting up for all the equipment we purchased this year. We'll get 2.42% interest rate, which is a really good rate. But our cash out this year versus the 31,000 will be 12,998. But that also, you know, you have to think about, we'll be paying this over 5 years, which will increase that loan, the payments out, principal and interest, $12,000 a year approximately.
And we'll stay on track. Next year, we'll just be making payments like we were this year on the lease.
Right.
So it's gonna be much easier to budget.
And I'm gonna set it up over the 5 years, just like everything else. So,
And with that, we got 2 quotes for the 2 dealers on 515.
And the low quote was from
We'll
Mason.
call it both and let them make a
Okay.
decision.
Nelson Tractor gave us a quote of $60,611. Mason Tractor gave us a quote of $58,000 for the same piece of equipment.
And what we did, David went and asked them, basically saying, we're gonna get quotes, we need your best price. And being very careful to be above board and fair. These are the prices they got, and David said, sure, this is your best price. And we brought, the prices are what you have this evening. Of course, Mason Tractor is not located in Pickens County. Nelson is, but the low bid is Mason Tractor, and we just purchased 2 pieces or 3 pieces of equipment from Mason Tractor. We bought several pieces in the past from Mason Tractor because the prices have been in line.
Now, this purchase and this, are we paying taxes on this?
No.
So it's flat out?
No advantage to us to lease this.
Was the prior lease 5 years? Is that what it was, Lisa? Do you remember?
well, it was 3, and then if you purchased it, you paid this balloon for this year.
3 years.
And what's the lifetime of this equipment, the way we use it? Would you guesstimate on this?
The particular one that we just turned in had, I think, about 700 hours, and we'd had it for 3 years. So, you know,
Should have been used more.
Yeah.
yeah.
But this will have life expectancy after it's paid off. And as a matter of fact, I wish we had financed the other one instead of leased it. We'd had it in stock today as part of our inventory, and then pick up a new one when it's done, and then our equipment, I think, would be better off. So we're one behind right now for not having the cat on a lease with this one. We actually went through 2 lease programs with that particular unit. It's nice to always have a brand new uniloader or skid steer available. We have other ones, but there's brand new ones.
That we just turned in, 3 years old.
How many hours?
700.
Do we have one? Do we have one?
We've got an old one.
Oh,
We've got a couple of
It's much smaller.
Yeah. And this is a big one.
This is a 5-year loan, is that what you said? And the
Yes.
total interest, and we'll be paying total interest over the life of the loan is what?
I don't have that total though.
All right.
2 point,
I've got it down to
2.65.
14.
2.42%. I don't know what that
Will
amortization
you be
is.
adding 12, Lisa, to the loan? So what you just said? I mean.
Well, to the loan payments in the next
The whole
year,
next
not
year.
this year, we're actually coming up, we're not paying out as much as we would have if we
Right.
paid that balloon off. A difference of 31,000 versus almost 13,000. So we'll come out to the good cash flow this year in my budget,
Mhm.
but next year will,
The next
it
5.
will increase, the next 4 years after this, it will increase our payments $12,000.
If we'd have returned it and leased it, we'd do the same thing. We just want to
We'd
purchase,
still
we just
have
want
the
to
payments.
purchase it instead of leasing it. No advantage, there's no tax break for us by lease. Would entertain a motion?
What kind of maintenance do we have on these? I mean, it's,
Well, this one will have very little maintenance. It'll have how many years warranty?
I think it has a 1-year warranty on it.
And after that, we're responsible even if it's leasing tracks, repairs, whatever. It's just like we own it.
This particular one we took back, it needed new tracks, it needed new rollers. Just because we had used it so much on the asphalt during the snowstorms that we've had, scraping the roads.
will we have the same issue though? I mean, if we buy one,
We're going to find it, so we're going to talk about it.
well, I'm gonna talk about it, I don't know what you're.
I gotta have you tomorrow morning.
Do they offer training for this piece of machinery?
I don't know, I can find out.
Good deal. Well, I know that we do what we call service, and one time we get a new piece of equipment. they'll come
Oh,
out.
they'll do that, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, as far as the
Same
maintenance.
way they did with our,
And then you can send your operator down there for like 2 weeks, and they show them.
I don't know if we go 2 weeks from now.
Well, I'm just,
But we've operated these pieces of equipment. This is a very nice piece of equipment with all the whistles and whatever you want to put on it from Kubota and things the cat don't have.
Oh, you use this stream water.
Everybody who needs it, but this will be our main unit loader. We could use 3 or 4 more if we find them available, but we've got to have one. We took this one back and we had to use it to pick up the tree on the road this morning and we took it back with mud on it, so we got to have one. Any other discussion?
700 hours in 36 months.
Yeah, it could have been used a little more, especially with bush hogging, we'll probably let it cast a little more.
About 20 hours a month usage. I don't know what a usage.
So when you need it, you gotta have it. Entertain a motion. Fails for lack of a motion. You can't get anything through that. Come on, council, we gotta get this unit loader in.
I don't know what my problem with it is, except the 20 hours usage a month. It's a lot of money for 20 hours. But, you know, $12,000 a month, $12,000 a year lease, payments.
And after 5 years, we'll have to loan.
Well, we only had it open for 3 years, right? Was it on it after
Well, we
5?
have other unit loaders as well, but they're older models and they're, and when we have, that we did not do that many line policies.
Then you don't think there's an advantage of leasing, right?
Talk to the salesman.
What it costs to rent? I don't think you need it.
I don't know, I can go ask Home Depot. Come on, we're in the water business, get you in a load. All right, David, we don't need it, let's go. Thank you, Dave. We'll be back with you later. Woodbridge update, Lonnie?
American Council, the only thing I have to update this evening is I got an email from Mr. Clayton Bennett with the DOT. He has volunteered to come up here anytime after Tuesday evening, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week, to meet with the city to discuss the structure and the details. He indicated in his email that the report that I quoted you about the different items that was wrong with the bridge is what he's basing everything on, and that he would very much like to see the bridge saved also, and that he would meet with us and discuss it. Also, I got a phone call from Mr. Mike Sweeney from Pruitt Railroad Bridge Company out of Florida. He called me today. He's on his way back up here to do some work for Pruitt Railroad in the Tate Nelson area. And he said that he would be glad to meet with us and also give us, he said until he knew exactly what the details were going to be as far as the DOT, he could give us an estimated cost like I discussed with you the other day. And he would like to try to meet with us sometime this week. And he give us strictly an estimate that would give us a baseline to start from. And then if the DOT changes anything, that could be increased or decreased from his estimate. It would strictly be an estimated cost, just to give us a nice idea.
Do you think it'd just be better for him just to give us the worst case scenario? That way we got a number to work with.
Well, I mean, we don't know what the worst case scenario
Well, you're
is.
talking about the tonnage and stuff going over the bridge.
Right.
So,
So, I
go
mean,
to the high tonnage and go from there.
well, we don't know what it would take to increase the bridge up a ton. We don't know what the DOT would request. I mean, they might request restructuring the entire underneath of the bridge, or they might say change 3 pylons and it's sufficient. So, I mean, we don't know what the worst scenario would be, other than rebuilding the whole bridge. So, I mean, I can request whatever council would like, but I mean, we
I
don't
think
know.
it's giving us additional information. We don't know what the state's gonna require yet. Let's get all the information we can get.
Okay. Mr. Bennett stated that he would be up here. He can come in any time, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday of this week, and meet with the city and discuss it. He's with the DOT.
Well, it's like we talked about in that workshop, we say no matter what anybody else says, we've got to satisfy the DOT.
Right. I mean, as long as they're satisfied and we can fund the project, then we can save the bridge as far as transportation going across it, just like it's always been. But we do have to satisfy the DOT. So, that's.
Any other questions, Council?
So you're gonna set something up and
Yes, we can, yes. Whatever the mayor and council like, we can set up whatever day and meet with both of these representatives and see what they have to say.
think we do it.
Okay.
Don't think we need a motion on that, do we?
Just an update. Paving project work change order. Lonnie?
Okay, I think you have a list of the changes that we are talking about making. One is deducting the cost of the original bid contract for Mosley Heights, the street up in that area, due to the fact that it is concrete and it would damage the new asphalt as it says now. The other things are milling around the curve at Jacob Point, and also redoing the walking path at the Jasper Park, the duck pond, and the streets around the duck pond. And so the total amount of the work.
And the parking lot.
Parking lot, yes. And the total cost of the change would be $63,490.60. But when you deduct Mosley Heights of $29,325, there would be a difference of $34,165.60. So as a work order change, I'm here to ask the council to approve this work order change and let Johnson Paving go ahead and fulfill these other requests.
Questions, Council?
There's no issue in using this paving, the SPOS dollars for this paving to do our walkways and parking lots and such. Just,
There was lost.
okay.
It was included in the sport.
So any paving to be done?
It's
Not just like
sidewalks,
Anything dealing with
And for
transportation?
golf courses.
I'll make the motion, we approve the change order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second discussion. Being all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Lonnie, I think you're still up. Basketball monument at Bank. Just a little update on that.
Good try.
There will be no action taken, and just give the council a bit of idea of what's going on there, because I think it's kind of got out into the public, and they might know another detail.
Okay, the DOT has requested some information from the city on our utilities at the intersection of Main and Church Street, and at the intersection of 7G and West Church Street at Community Bank. The state championship has a monument in front of Bank of North Georgia at Main Street and Church Street. The DOT said that their contractors were concerned about when they put the mast arms up for the new red lights at the location there on Main, that they were concerned about the safety of that monument. The DOT has definitely not, we're not obligated to move it. They were just making us aware that the contractor was concerned. And so we have talked to the school board, or I have, and to the Stacy Gillen, and they have chosen a place in front of the school board building to move the money to, if we choose, or if the county chooses, or whatever, to move it, relocate it. So the mayor has been in contact with some of the different people around, and it's just up for discussion right now as far as we're talking here tonight.
I'll tell you, the other people I called were not happy, and if we can leave it there, we definitely want to leave it there unless it is some type of hazard for driving public. I don't see that being an issue. I thought it would look better in front of the Pickens County High School gym instead of the Board of Education building, but that's out of my purview. And so
that's where that other one is, that big one that sits right down there from the
old school. But this championship was not won at this particular gym. It was still Pickens County High School.
Right.
But only if it becomes a major issue, and we may have opened a can of worms that we didn't need to, but there was a lot of discussion about it, and I sure didn't want the parties that were part of putting that there to be offended by what was going on without knowing the details. Thank you, Lonnie.
Okay.
Update on City Park Council. We opened the park before Memorial Day weekend. We still have the items that was mentioned by Mr. Waters tonight as far as paving the parking lots and the trail. And with that finished, we'll add some more vegetation behind the waterfall. We have planned to add between 8 to 10 grills at the picnic areas around, and that will be the extent that we improve the park. We painted all the facilities, new commodes. The bathrooms can stand a little more. They get a lot of use, but that will be an ongoing process. And you gave me $15,000, and we're probably 12.
Yeah, less than 13.
So we can get the grills put in place.
40 that were put into the baby too.
Well, that's true. That's true. But we wanted to go. We took $15,000. I wanted to go over and replace all the playground equipment, and the prices on the playground equipment was $34,000, and I didn't have the $15,000 to get the park in shape for safety reasons. And of course, the city, you didn't see all this, but we took out a lot of trees, a lot of limbs that were hazardous, and we spent 3 hard weeks over there, maybe closer to a month. So.
Are you gonna make it where it's a drive-through?
No, we want to do that, and it is absolutely no safe way of the traffic drive. So we're bringing the walk trail at a slope from the baseball fields down to the park, hopefully at an angle, and the paving process will actually make a little curve there or swerve that the angle will be such that a wheelchair can go down safely. So that's an update on that, and we'll keep you up to speed, especially if we get the papers on it. All right, item J, resolution to adopt water conservation plan. Mr. Hall finally got the water.
Evening, Mayor again. For you tonight to try to pass or adopt a resolution for water conservation. It is part of the plan through Mr. Turnipseed that the council asked back in December to get our well permit increased from 1 million to 1.33 million, and also our water treatment plant permit increased from 2 million to 2.33 million. And this is part of the process of getting those permits is for the council to adopt a water conservation plan, and Mr. Turnpsey has prepared one, so we get this resolution passed to adopt.
Resolution 2017, 6th month, 5th day. Whereas the city of Jasper, Georgia realizes the need to implement a water conservation plan to protect the natural resources of the city and comply with Georgia Environmental Protection Division guidelines. And whereas the mayor and council have authorized the development of a water conservation plan for the city of Jasper dated April 2017, we hereby resolve to adopt the water conservation plan for the city of Jasper dated April 7, 2017 as prepared by G. Ben Turnipseed Engineers. So resolved this 5th day of June 2017. Would entertain a motion to approve resolution as read.
So moved.
Got a motion to approve? Motion is second. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. I think we have a resolution that the council can put their signature on that resolution. Thank you, David. Okay, next item. Environmental information document. Mr. Hall?
And this is just a document to make the council aware that Turnipseed is continuing on the process of getting the wastewater plant permit increased also from 0.8 to 1.56. There's only a certain amount of way he'll be able to go before I'll have to come back for council, and I'm assuming get some kind of financial started on that, some kind of a loan or grant program or whatever. So this, only thing this is stating is that they are continuing to move forward. I think there was another amount approved for that too, right? 20-something thousand. And that's probably getting pretty close to that. So it's going to get to the point where I can update the council that they're feeling like that maybe we can do it more by stage at a time, and maybe the first stage being about half of what the original amount. I think all of y'all were on the council when we had the workshop that time about the wastewater plant. They were talking about $8 million. That is down hopefully to around 4 or 5. So that's just an update on that that's coming. And it's a lot of the same stuff as it is to get the wastewater plant, just making sure that, you know, nobody's going to object, you know, to the wastewater plant being doubled or to the water treatment plant being increased.
This is the request for the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay. And the public hearing date, we set by a phone conversation the other day. I don't have my calendar. Okay, we're advertising tomorrow.
30 days.
We're advertising tomorrow, and we'll have 4 weeks advertising, and it seemed like around the 13th of July. It'll be in the advertisement, council.
Yes.
Okay. Would entertain a motion to approve the advertising for the public hearing.
So moved.
Got a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. Thank you, David. Okay, we're not done. Wastewater maintenance camera.
This is sanitary sewer camera that the council has previously approved in the budget for the maintenance department. I have 3 bids for this camera. It's a camera, and with our meeting, it's a camera where you can set up and look into the sanitary sewer lines to see what might be blocking the lines up. So we've obtained 3 bids, one from Tri-Vision in Smyrna, Georgia for $13,473. One from Canton Wimelson Company, a bid of $12,900.63. And Nostech out of Clearwater, Florida, has a bid of $8,900.
all features fairly the same, David?
Yes. Yes, I think one of them might come with, one of these might come with, they come 2 days and show you what to do. But our personnel are very familiar with these cameras. We've used them. One we've got, we've had since the early 90s.
Which one's a low bid?
Tech, out of Clearwater, Florida, $8,900.
Do you personally know anything about these people, David?
No, but they all have warranties. They all have 2-year warranties on all of them.
Yeah, budget 10,000. Yes, we had 10,000 budgeted. It was another. This was the one.
This is.
That's too many budget.
Okay, we entertain a motion, council.
Make a motion, we approve the purchase of, the low bid on the, maintenance camera.
Motion to approve the low bid of $8,900
Yes.
for the maintenance camera. Got a second? Any discussion?
This will save you, the city, a whole lot of time. It also has a locator thing that you go down and find out where it's at. You only have to dig up a small section versus having to dig the whole line. Very useful residential and commercial.
That's good, since we don't have,
You got $100 in your value for that?
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. Item N, report from planning commission, Mr. Underwood.
Did we vote on that?
I thought we did.
You got
All in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council.
Thank you, Council.
Item N.
Mayor, Mr. Council, I'm presenting Mr. Corley's not in town, so I'll present the planning commission meeting of May the 23rd.
I'm gonna get it. Yeah, go ahead, I'll catch you, we got company, so,
On May the 23rd, the planning commission held a meeting to discuss the annexation of parcel number 041-053, which is 2.34 acres located at 1860 Highway 53 West, to have the zoning changed from HB, which is highway business, to C2. There were 3 or 4 people in attendance at that meeting. Had a lot of discussion, and at the end, the planning commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the annexation and the zoning. And that was, now it's up to the council to decide what needs to be done.
once we have controversy, council, at a zoning hearing, we usually like to take statements from our visitors, and I see visitors here tonight that might want to make a comment about the annexation and the zoning of this particular piece of property. I would like to recognize the people who may oppose this annexation, who spoke at the last meeting, to address the council, and I'll start out with 3 minutes, and if you need more than 3 minutes, you can request it, and if you need more than 5, you probably won't get it. So, with that, I would like to open the floor for anyone that would like to make a statement opposing the annexation and the designated zoning of said property. If you will, when you stand, give us your name and a little bit about you.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor Weaver and the council. My name is Crystal Beaver, and I'm franchisee for Acorn Food Group, Bojangles, and we're a neighbor to this parcel in question. Also, I'm accompanied by Mr. Wade Marshall of Calhoun Management Corporation, who also is here representing Wendy's. Together, we make up 2 of the 4 corners at the intersection in question. Both locations are locally owned, with Mr. Paul Rambler, an owner of Wendy's, residing here in Pickens County, And of course, myself and my family reside in Pickens County as well. We have a joint concern over the long over-congestion of this particular intersection at Camp Road and State Highway 53. This has been a long concern that was prior to Popeyes ever coming or this property being annexed into the city. 2 weeks ago at the planning meeting, Mr. Patton was here with Foresight Engineering, and he was representing CSC Properties. And he stated a few important statements that I'd like you all to be aware of. One, that the proposed Popeyes would draw approximately 700 cars per day, or 21,000 additional cars per month. The second thing was the proposed ingress and egress on State Highway 53. He stated was approved, and the Planning Commission had asked that important question. Unfortunately, that was false information. Mr. Keith Day was able to verify that that has not been approved or permitted at all. The Planning Commission did make that recommendation to you based on the information that was given to them by Mr. Patton. You know, together we employ over 110 employees here in the city of Jasper, and we've served this community for 12 and 15 years respectfully. This is not an issue with Popeyes coming. This is not an issue with even a competition coming of any degree to this intersection. What we ask is that this intersection is overly congested. Accidents are occurring often. My property has been damaged 4 times. Their property has been damaged 4 times. We already received numerous complaints from our guests coming in and through and out. And both of our businesses are dependent upon the convenience factor of time getting in and out of the intersection. We do believe that the City Council should seek a traffic study. We believe that accident data should be included, that it should be comprehensive, and that you should study whether this annexation and any future growth that could come on the 2.34 acres is sustainable at this intersection as it currently sits, or whether adjustments should be made. Remember, the other elephant in this room is that the Popeyes only shows what would take place on half of that property. The rest of that property, I'm certain, as they are business owners, they'd like to sell that as well. So the potential 21,000 cars, if another competitor comes that's only open 2 day parts, would pull an additional 21,000 cars. So there's a bigger picture that we must look at, and we urge you to please do so. You know, today we were very blessed to finally meet with DOT on our property.
Yeah, they ganged up on us. It was like 4 of us.
I'd love Wade, if you don't mind, to kind of share.
Sure, I'll be brief. We're all about progress at Wendy's, for sure. We're going to build 2 new stores this year. We completed 2 recent remodels, or remodel 2 more. So we're aware of impact and what we have to do to make sure we can be a good neighbor when we move in somewhere in it. And we're all about competition too, because you know we thrive on it. It makes us better. The challenge that we have at that intersection is if it's 7, let's say it's 700 is the figure that's thrown out, additional cars per day, right? Okay, some of those cars aren't arguable people. Let's say it's 5, or let's say it's 4 additional cars per day trying to interact with that intersection, right? And caveat, let's say that that's one portion of the parcel. If the second parcel goes, that's another, I don't know, however many. Here's the issue. From what we can see, and certainly you see it every day, that intersection can't take 21 cars a day. And I apologize for being a little emotional about it. It's a problem. We got a problem with that intersection. We got a big problem. Now, I know for a fact, if it was new construction, well, not for a fact, but more than likely, if it was new construction, and I was Joe, new construction guy, and I came in and I said, we're going to pop something right here, there would be backlash because of the way that intersection works right now. Right now. So the question is, how do we make sure whatever we get into, whenever we get into it, how do we make sure it's going to work? Because if it doesn't work, everybody suffers. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, but we are genuinely worried about this intersection. We've prepared a lot of times. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I think y'all know where at least I'm coming from, I think you know where we're coming from. We want to make sure whatever study has to be done is done with the right figures. So, in caveat to that, and I'll wrap it up with this. We sent a request letter to the DOT to take a look at traffic pattern, counts, collision, the whole 9 yards. And they're going to be doing a study on that to assist us in hopefully assisting everyone in finding out what can we do to make that intersection work. Because right now it's not working. It's not working. I really appreciate y'all's time.
In conclusion, if I may, thank you, Mr. Wade, for that explanation. But, you know, the Rowland and the Copeland families are truly friends of mine. I look forward to being a good neighbor to whatever establishment does come. But I do urge the council to make sure that proper planning is put into place to prevent any future problems. This is already the gateway entrance on Highway 53 to the city of Jasper. We want to get it right. And space is limited and traffic is high, and we don't anticipate that decreasing. This problem will only increase in time. This is not an anti-Popeyes campaign or anti-growth. This is simply, let's plan this right. The mayor, in your session, your work session on Thursday, you know, I know you mentioned that maybe the proper planning from the development wasn't done in the beginning, but we have an opportunity now to rectify that before another development comes and adds to that problem.
Since you mentioned that, the main problem there is the road that divides your property, known as Camp Road, is too narrow. Your property is too close to, in order to expand the width of that road, it needs to be a 4-lane, probably with for the traffic that we're having there, probably a 4-lane with a turn lane. But we don't have the space because of the proximity of Wendy's to Bojangles. And the only space we have available is your curbing and your green space between the road 53 and Camp and your parking lot. So that's where we're having some issues, because you and I have discussed in the past how we're going to get a decel lane coming off Camp Road into yours through that power line and the Davis property, who actually owns that property. So, but that's kind of on your side of the road. And on the other side of the road, I'm not trying to be an advocate here, and I need to shut the heck up because I've been trying to annex every property I can find since I found it. But the other side of the road was a Pepsi company years ago, and if it was a Pepsi company today with those big trucks trying to get out the road, we'd really have a problem. But I'm going to stop there and not try to sway. I have a terrible tendency to sway. But you have anything else to offer?
Well, just with all due respect, that's only 25% of the problem. I mean, truly, I have video that shows that the backup goes from you know, traffic coming eastbound towards Jasper. You know, it backs up several times before they get to that light. I know that we've all, you know, hopefully looked at Highway 53, you know, widening. And unfortunately, with the proposed plan from Popeyes, because there is no land on the Wendy's side, if that right decel lane is granted to Popeyes, then that 53 will have absolutely no room to widen in the future.
When you look at the plan,
Camp Road is only 25%.
And when you look at the plan, you see how the proposed plan, it's rough, it's real funny. If you look at that, you see it really does a great job getting people into Popeyes, which it should. It performs tremendously like that. The problem is, what are they going to do when they leave? And that's where it's trouble. And once again, and I don't want to be that voice, it's not a competition, it's not a Popeyes thing. We're all about competition and road, because that's what we do. But we got to make sure it's going to work.
And I do, you know, I don't want to just come here with a problem. We really do, we are seeking solutions, and we propose that there's 3 different ways to pay for the solutions to fix that intersection. The first one being something that's called a DOT quick response plan. That quick response plan would qualify for anything that would help facilitate traffic where there's over congestion on the state highway, as long as it's under $200,000. We do believe, relatively speaking, that's worth investigating to see an engineered plan to see if this would be under $200,000, and that would be a possibility. The second thing is, of course, SPLOST, as it would apply to transportation and roads that are overly congested on our gateway intersection. And the third thing is if this study comes back from DOT that shows that there are some safety concerns here, and that what myself and Mr. Marshall are speaking to is true about the accident that occurred, then perhaps they can use some DOT safety funds also.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'm here representing the Planning Commission. They talked about an annexation and zoning application only. Popeyes was not. They're trying to get the property zoned into the city limits of Jasper as C2, and there's a number of permitted uses for C2 property.
Right.
So, I didn't bring this to the council to approve this or disapprove this with a Popeyes on it. That had nothing to do with what we did at our meeting.
Once it's annexed in, they'll have to meet planning regs, so you can get in and out and get DOT approval for them. Okay, thank you. Evidently, this is the right side of the church, this is the left side of the church. I'd like to recognize anyone who would like to speak, and since there's more here, I'm going to limit you to about 3 minutes if necessary.
I don't have much to say, but I'm Jasper.
Would you introduce yourself?
Jasper.
I know better you haven't much to say.
I don't see where there'd be 700 extra cars coming in, because somebody, if they're gonna eat, they're gonna come in the city of Jasper eat anyway. And there is, I eat at both places, about 2 or 3 times a week. And you can't, like going in Wendy's, you come from Home Depot, you have to cross into the wrong lane and come into Wendy's. I mean, that seems like a problem to me. But if you build it for traffic, like the other side would be built for, if it's approved by the DOT and y'all, it would be safe and, there shouldn't be a problem with the traffic.
Are you saying the other side of the road is not going to affect?
No, it should be, there won't be that many cars added. There's not going to be 500 people come in just to get Popeyes, or at a Bojangles, or anywhere.
Where did that number come from?
That's what, she had a 700 number.
That came from Mr. Patton, and those are Popeye's figures for an average location.
They run the demographics and do the site survey and all that.
It was confirmed by DOT at 676 today.
700 is freaking me out too. But the challenge of the intersection
is
is
700 would even, it ain't gonna add 700 cars. It don't matter if a Longhorn goes there, because those people are gonna eat somewhere in the city of Jasper.
Okay. Okay, what I was about to say, your property was once a Pepsi property, and since that time it's been several other.
Yeah, a lot of these studios, yes, and a few things.
And how many acres is it again?
2.3 something.
2.34. So it was actually recognized as commercial property before Wendy's,
Highway business.
before Dos Margaritas, before Cantina, before Home Depot, before any of that. Pepsi was sitting there as the only commercial property past the Amoco, what used to be the Amoco, if you go look at it. You have to sit in Wendy's dining area and look out and say, how'd all this happen? And look, as you're looking over that traffic, I kind of enjoy it because we've been partying to that over the years.
Yeah, we do too, yeah.
And so, but anybody else would like to make a statement in favor of the annexation efforts?
I'd like to speak for a moment. David Stinetti, David Stinetti. I work for Foresight Group Engineering. Mr. Patton and I work together. I'm actually will be the licensed engineer that will design this site. And Connor and I work together to submit this application to Sunny. So I appreciate Sunny's all his help in getting this application to where we're at. As Sunny said, we're...
Wait, are you the one that said 700 more cars?
I can address that, and I will. Yeah. So when we submitted this application, as Sunny said, we submitted the application to annex 2.3 acres from the county into the city because the city and county both require, if we're going to redevelop the property, we have to connect to public utilities. The city's public utilities. In order to connect to public utilities, we need to be in the city. That's
That's fact.
Yes, that's fact. So there's 4 corners of this intersection. The intersection was improved by DOT, y'all know better than I am, 2000-ish. Yeah. The Pepsi property that was there, I'm not sure what it was operating as at the time, had 2 driveways on Highway 53. DOT closed the one nearest to the intersection, that was a safety close, and kept open the one furthest away from the intersection to get out of the functional limits of the intersection. That's their intent. So they closed the one closest, so they already lost one driveway. And then improved, and by doing so, that was, I think, partly in part with the Home Depot and Lowe's and the Kroger development. And there's 400,000 other square feet of retail. We're 2,000 square feet. So if there's a traffic problem, there's several 100,000 square feet that are probably contributing. Not that you, but traffic's not the issue. We're annexing the property. That being said, the approved driveway locations, just to mention on a few things that the opposition had. Approved driveway locations, those were constructed driveway locations that are aligned with driveways opposite the street, which is the only way DOT will approve driveways. There is Mr. Keith Day, the DOT representative that I believe they spoke with, was probably referencing a separation distance requirement for a state highway with a certain speed limit, and our driveway will not meet that separation distance. Those are recommended design separations, and in certain situations, if the opposing driveway across the street is present, you don't meet the spacing requirement, you align with the driveway. That's to limit as many conflict points as possible at intersections. So to address the driveways that are not in approved locations that Mr. Patton spoke incorrectly, that's not true. We've been working with DOT. We're aware of that. They have asked us to provide a right turn lane into the site. That's a requirement of theirs. We're going to generate enough traffic to require a right turn lane traffic. We're not here talking about traffic, but since it's been brought up, the ITE Institute of Traffic Engineers has placed a summary book for Walmart and, well, for large-scale retail, for restaurants with sit-down, for restaurants with drive-through, for hotels, for city council buildings, how many parking spaces you need, how many traffic chirp generations you will generate. The numbers that we quoted were direct pulled from the ITE book. We haven't run specific counts for this property. We haven't done a traffic study for this property. We haven't gotten there yet because it's not in the city. It's because right now we can't access public water and sewer on our property. So in order for us to get there, we need to annex the property.
And you're saying in this conversation, you're basically saying you're concerned about the traffic flow as much as your neighbor.
We will be, when we get to the technical design of the property, we will work with all of the city's technical ordinances that we're going to have to meet in order to get a permit to build this. And we'll work with all of the technical requirements that DOT is going to ask us to meet in order for us to gain access and get a driveway encroachment permit in order to build the driveway for this property. So we're not trying to not produce a traffic study. We're trying to annex a property in so we can get water and sewer access from the city. So we can meet all of the technical requirements that and DOT will ask us.
Okay, so, and you're willing to be a partner with your neighbor on the other corner?
Absolutely.
In the fact that there needs to be more space, and if you place your Popeyes building so close to the State Route 53 that you would have to take curb, gutter, or whatever in order to widen State Route 53 for another lane, which we have 3 lanes there, I believe.
3 lanes currently.
And it's taxed quite a bit, but McDonald's on the other side of the road, when they did their improvements, there's enough room there for State Route 53 on the east side to be widened somewhat. Of course, the cemetery's on the other side, you can't take much of that property, but we don't have that at that intersection. And Crystal, I was one there when this was being designed, when Home Depot was designed, and I recall very clearly the day that I was there with the then County Commissioner, and and Lou Chastain with the DOT, and knowing how close your building was, and you still were basically a figment of someone's imagination that it's going to happen in Wendy's. It was rumored that it was going to happen there. And when it started being built, and I saw the close proximity you were to the 53. And Wendy's is the smallest parking lot I've ever seen for the amount of people who want to eat at Wendy's.
Yeah, it's like God wants Wendy's to be eaten there. Because I don't know why else it works, but it's time.
But you actually have room to expand your property in the north or southwest quadrant if you were to purchase more property. I believe there's availability there, isn't there?
For Wendy's?
Yes.
Oof, I don't know.
You may have to buy somebody out, but
we might have to get into the Mexican food business.
might be a merger.
Which may not be a bad thing.
Might be a merger. But with that, I'm going to try to get to the point where I've never seen an annexation that I didn't like, so it's hard to talk me out of one. But with this presentation and the recommendation, how did the planning commission recommend? What did they recommend?
They recommend that it be approved.
Okay. And they listed all sides. Basically, I was not there for a reason. I wanted to be here for this meeting instead of that one. But with that, council, I ask you to ask any question you'd like to have.
The turnaround on the DOT study like you've requested, is there kind of a general time frame that you can give me?
You know, I don't know. We just had the meeting this morning, and excuse me, let me stand up. We just had the meeting this morning, and I just popped the letter off today. But I can follow up immediately on that and get back to whoever I need to by email on the time frame.
And is the willingness of them to cooperate, is that leverage to get this done maybe a little quicker? I'm just asking general questions, but.
You know, I think as far as willingness, we're certainly willing. We just willing in any capacity. That's why we met with the DOT, because we want everybody to have the right numbers. And I completely understand what you're saying about 700. I'm with you on that. I understand what you're restrained to. But we had to work off something to promote the meeting with the DOT. That's where so
well, that was the number that was given.
Yeah, we need good numbers so we can make the decision. Right? But if you want to give me an email to respond, I'll be happy to do the same.
Okay. Anything to respond to those statements?
We, as a future property owner and how this, we are the engineers. We're working for a developer who is putting a site together for Popeyes corporate. Eventually, I'm not sure that Popeyes is going to immediately franchise that to another local business owner or what their corporate intentions are. So I'll take that off. But you may have another local franchise owner for Popeyes.
I think it would have been easier if you'd walk in and said, I'd like to annex my property in the city of C2, which I've been trying to annex to them for 25 years. And if they'd asked that question, Popeyes has become the item. It could be a daycare center or whatever if it's in C2.
Just to address that, our application was to annex this to C2, period. When working with Sunny, we were working together. Let's please show us a site plan so we can show you what we're going to do here. And in the top corner where we're Popeyes. Probably should have scratched that out.
Sunny's fault.
But we are just annexing this to C2. And certainly willing to work with all the technical requirements of DOT in the city.
I'd like to recognize Mr. Proctor.
Just in the interest of good practice, I'd like to say that I have a potential conflict because I do own some property pretty close to this intersection. And I just want the record to reflect that I've identified that conflict. So.
Thank you.
I think after all that's been said, we're here tonight for the council to vote on annexing this property in as C2, and regardless of whatever in the future will be put on this site.
It will fall under
Then
all
they will have
permitted uses for C2, which, restroom is one, and also a cemetery.
Exactly.
And dealing with the DOT is going to be it's going to happen. It's going to be a definite that DOT is going to be calling this as well as the city of Jasper. And we do recognize the other side of the street as having issues. And Camp Road, I wish it was a 4-lane road. I think it'd be a 6-lane road, but everybody would want to go that route. But that will have issues in the future, but today we're talking about annexation, and Popeyes was put on a plan that brought that into the picture, but it could be Burger King, it could be anything, God forbid it be Burger King.
No Burger King.
I always said if one lawyer comes to town, he goes broke, two lawyers come to town, he gets rich. Same way with those restaurants. But with that, I would like to ask for a motion, and let's move forward one way or the other.
Make a motion, we approve the report, approve the request from the Zoning and Planning Commission.
Have a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. Unanimous. Thank you. And we're going to worry about your traffic because you're citizens of Jasper and y'all pay taxes, and we really appreciate it.
We appreciate y'all.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. And let us go home.
Okay.
Thank you, son. We have one more item.
Mr. Tickets recommend I abstain on the vote, so.
Okay, Mark. Before you go, Sonny, I'm going to go back up and hit the Marble Hill well just so where you're at.
Okay.
Item L, if I couldn't Google it on my agenda, I would see that. Marble Hill Well Council, we talked about that at the council meeting, and at the recommendation of Mr. John Klein, after studying the well pump test more diligently, has recommended that we not do the pump test, which will save the city around $17,000 that we approved. But just give you a heads up, Mr. Klein called me just this afternoon, and I'm meeting him at 7:30 Wednesday, and we're going to meet Georgia Marble representatives in the Whitestone area, where they feel they may have more potential water than we would at Marble Hill. So looking forward to that meeting.
Members.
Well, I always call them Georgia Marble because I'm from Pickens County. Okay, but that's just an update on that, Council. I'm sorry about Mrs. skipping over item L. Thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you very much. Item O, alcohol license request.
I have an alcohol license request from the council. It's Miss Salmini Rubbula.
Good job.
They find the Dunn's North store at Talking Rock, and they want to put the beer and wine license in their name, of course. And I was presented tonight with the fingerprint request that she had made to the JPD, and it came back that there are no outstanding things that would keep her from getting a license. And she is advertising in her store now, according to our regulations, with a sign telling what she's doing. And I ask the council.
Continue. Make a motion to continue. Yeah. Entertain a motion to continue the advertising process. Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Being all in favor, vote by show of hands. Thank you, council. Item P. I requested at the last workshop, we discussed the possibility of forming a blight committee, and I'd like to recognize John Faust, who supports this action and what may lay in store for us.
No, Mayor, what we'd like to do is appoint a committee. Please include Mr. Fickett along with the committee. We've looked at several different ordinances from different towns as close to Georgia. We will make what's going to be the right ordinance for Jasper. But if we're going to spend all this money and time to try to fix up downtown, we might as well fix up all of Jasper.
Okay.
And so this committee hopefully will get some recommendations that will bring in business, make the community look more attractive, and make Jasper more prosperous.
Okay. We'll call it, for the time being, Blight Committee concerned, and I'd like to recognize Ann Snavy and John Faust as members of this committee, and you can report at your leisure to this council as to what you find you want to present. Maybe move forward toward ordinance.
Okay. Mr. Crick could be involved.
Mayor's report, economic development report, Jerry Negvatal.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's a long evening, so I'm going to try to
cut to the chase. First of all, I'm going to the item that I was going to mention in closing. I'm going to go ahead and mention on the onset, based on the conversation that y'all just had, and that was I wanted to convey a personal thank you from a chamber board member for the actions resulting in the removal of the cooler from the property on West Church Street as you're coming into 515. So this was something that an individual found, and the assumption was made that the city took action that resulted in the removal of that. So they wanted me to convey thanks and just to act like you're in economic development, and whether you had anything to do it or not, just to say yes, thank you, and I'll pass that on to them. So I did want to mention that because I do applaud your actions. I do think improving the look and feel of the community will help improve us from an economic development standpoint. Just a couple things I want to share very quickly. The latest unemployment figures indicate that our unemployment number is at 4.3%. Typically, within our region, we rank about number 3 numbers, the counties that are at the second spot. There's usually tied there. 2 counties that are usually tied there. So this is pretty consistent. At the end of the day, what this means is we have 631 people that need jobs. So even though that is still a good unemployment figure and it is competitive within our region, there still is demand for increased economic development and job opportunities. The other thing I want to share with you was some information supplied by the County Planning and Development Department. And for this month, the main activity is they had 41 building permits, which is an 8% increase over last year. Kind of by contrast, they only had 6 permits for site-built houses, which is 63% down from last year. So they had 16 in May. So although, we see a lot of activity happening within the community, I still think we're probably lagging a little bit in the housing arena. And I just want to share that with you. Any questions or comments about any of those items? A couple things again, very quickly. We have, our tourism efforts are really targeted at retail support and creating demand and keeping people here as well as bringing people in. And as we have new establishments coming in, I think this is even more important. So 2 items I want to share with you is that we have a film opportunity. This is one they've come to the community a couple of times already. It's an independent filmmaker. They do have new financial backing. They're looking at doing a film throughout Jasper and Pickens County, probably in November. They would be in the community for 30 days. They would base here. So they would be utilizing housing, food, whatever needs that they need for their sets. They would be buying it locally. There would be some opportunities for individuals for extras. So something like this is where we have a real economic, I think, return on our tourism efforts related to film opportunities. So I'll give you more information about that as it moves forward. But again, it's sounding very promising, and hopefully this new financier will come forward and not falter, and this will come to fruition. One other thing I wanted to share with you, last year we had some events that we called Wednesday Social. The last one, we had a very nice one. We had tables and chairs set up at the green space in the main street. It was very well attended, brought a lot of people out, kept a lot of people in town. This summer, we're going to be having what we're calling summer socials. The format will be very similar. They will be on Thursday evenings instead of Wednesdays. I think that will make it easier for more people to attend. We have created some brochures that outline the 4 events that we're going to be having, the 5 events that we'll be having this summer. And we're starting off, I think, very strongly on June 22nd. Thomas Fountain will be our entertainment for the evening. And I think that'll get us off to a strong start. Formats will be very similar. We'll have tables and chairs set up on the green space at the upper level. Probably have a food truck and a dessert truck down at the lower level. And again, music featured prominently. And I'm excited about that. We met sometime, it's been about a year ago, I think, and Council Member Ann Snavy was very instrumental in arranging a meeting with Ball Ground, and we discussed their efforts. And one of the things that they really talked about was the need to have repetitive events that people can count on and know that are going to take place to get the draw. So we've taken those lessons and we've put them into place. So that's what I had to share this evening, but I'll be glad to answer questions about any other topic at this time.
Councilman. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks.
Finance report, Lisa.
In your packet, and you have the finance report for May of 17. And at the end of this May of 17, we should be at approximately 41.67% of our budget. Expenditures in the general fund are at close to 35%, which is good. We collected loss, which is local option sales tax, not SPLOST. The current month, 93,310. Compared to last year, the same month, 85,257, so we had a good month. Year to date, 462,221 versus 428,412 prior year. Technology surcharge fund, we spent approximately $6,200, and that's for the police laser that y'all approved. Moving on to hotel motel, we collected approximately $8,400 last month. SPLOST, we collected $72,612 last month, which brings us to a cash balance of $785,878 at this time. Water fund, we're at approximately 39% of our budget compared to 41.67% is what we should be at this time, so that's good for expenditures. And at the very back, I was listed the checks that have been written over $5,000, and I think they're pretty self-explanatory. I've written out the explanation for the reason for the checks. If you have any questions, though, let me know. That's all I have.
Thank you. Questions, council? Lonnie?
Hey,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chief.
I was just,
Lonnie?
In council, as far as animal control, we had 2 dogs. One of them has been camping out up here at the depot, and it finally, after several days, got it trapped. It's at the shelter. They're going to hold it for 10 days. It's already calmed down where people can pet it. Everything's going good there.
Is it a little beagle?
Yes, well, beagle crops. But I did get it trapped, and after 10 days, if the owner don't come forward, then it'll be put up for adoption. We had another dog in Crystal Creek that was creating some problems, but we found the owner for it, and those problems have been corrected. We had 2 feral kittens on Main Street. 2 individuals tried to catch them. Both individuals got bit. And so they were transferred to the animal shelter. The health department notified. They've been quarantined for 10 days. They seem to be very healthy. At the end of 10 days, they will be put up for adoption if they're not sick or showing some signs of illness. So that's it.
or bite someone else.
Or buy someone else.
Questions, council?
People are cats.
Yeah.
Did you talk about our intersection, behind the Jasper Middle School? In your early report?
No.
Give them a quick update on that, 'cause that should be moving.
Okay, the gas company, I have not heard from them as far as when they're gonna move the gas line. They will be putting a turning lane coming east on 53. They will be putting a turning lane to turn into Holly Street, be 339 feet long. So we're hoping that will help some of the congestion in that area during school hours. But we're waiting on the gas line to get moved.
Thank you. Chief Lowe? Item D.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jasper Police Department answered a total of 842 calls from 911 center the month of May. Responded to 74 motor vehicle accidents. Issued a total of 62 citations for the following: 17 speeding, 3 seatbelt, 1 child restraint, 2 shoplifting, 3 uninsured motor, 33 miscellaneous violations, 3 suspended or revoked. Court State Patrol issued a total of 82 citations for a grand total of 144 citations in the city court. Total of 15 state warrants were taken by the department on 1 simple assault, misdemeanor, 2 simple battery, misdemeanor, 1 simple battery, family violence felony, simple battery, family violence, misdemeanor, terroristic threats, criminal trespass, 2 set by taking, misdemeanor, 1 obstruction, 1 felony shoplifting, 1 prescription fraud, 1 drunk in public, 1 disorderly conduct, 1 stalking. Miscellaneous calls answered, 37 long calls, 16 disorderly, 7 harassment, 60 trespassing or loitering, 169 suspicious activity calls, and 43 domestics and investigated 0 burglaries.
Questions? Thank you, Chief. Chief Rowe.
Good evening, Mayor. What about making the paper airplane out of my report patrol, especially couldn't stand the pressure. For the month of May, the city fire department responded to 123 emergencies. No door, no structure fires inside the city, 1 outside. No vehicle fires in, 2 outside. No grass or brush fires inside the city or outside. 11 motor vehicle accidents with injuries inside, 1 outside. 43 emergency medical responses in, 42 outside. 17 other calls in, 6 out. And at the end of the month, 678 calls. Our inspection looked at 3 sets of plans for construction or renovation and conducted 15 inspections.
Questions, Council? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
John, JYSA?
Football camp starts on July the 10th. It's going to be $175 for the kids to play football for the sign up early. The way to camp is going to cost them extra. Same way with cheerleading starting too. They'll go to JYSADragons.org. All the sign up information is there in camp information.
And I met with the, one of the members of the maintenance of the school this morning, and they're looking at preparing plans for this. No other business comes from the council. I entertain a motion to adjourn after I thank all the guests that we had here this evening. Thank you for being here. It's always quite entertaining when we have this many, with this many items on the agenda, so thank you so much. Being that, no other business. Thank you. I can't get the brush up.